Right, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the public who are here and the officers. I would like to remind you all that this meeting is live on the Council's YouTube channel. Before we move on to this afternoon's proceedings, there are obviously a few housekeeping matters that I would like to bring to members and the public's attention. I would like to remind members and officers to stand, if they are able, when you are speaking to the chamber. Please may I remind members, officers, including the press and the public that are in attendance today, that all mobile phones should be switched off or in silent, and no calls should be made from the chamber during the meeting. Give you a few seconds just to check your phones. Before I say anything else, can I extend a very warm welcome to all new members and to our returning members. Welcome to you all. Our first item of business is to elect a person to preside as chair of the council. So the last task I have as outgoing chair is to call for nominations. Councillor Hill was first.
Thank you, Chair. I would just like to, I said at the last meeting that you chaired the meetings very firmly, very fairly, and with great humour, so I'd be delighted to propose yourself to remain as chair for this year.
Councillor Swinhoe.
I would like to propose Councillor Richard Arthur Baker, please.
Do we have...
Would you like me to second the first one?
In 2 seconds. Do we have any other nominations?
No? You don't strictly need to be seconded.
We don't apparently need to be seconded, but I would prefer if there were seconders. Councillor Sanderson, second that. And so have you... Sorry, I can't see your name plate.
Councillor Fowler. Councillor Fowler. Straight out vote. Seeing I have been nominated, I will hand over to Mr. Gerard to deal with the vote. On the basis we have 2 nominations, it's a straight vote. So decide which candidate you wish to put your hand up for. We will count the votes and announce the result. So if we could first of all have a show of hands for, sorry, Councillor Swinhoe, your nomination was?
Councillor Richard Arthur Baker.
For Councillor Baker. A show of hands, please. You could count, Neil. Okay. And if I could have a show of hands for Councillor Benyon. We will count, but that's clearly carried. I don't think a count is necessary. Yeah. You are returned as chair.
Thank you, councillors. Thank you for having trust and confidence in me to elect me for the forthcoming year. Excuse me. Thank you, Councillor Hill, for those kind words. The chair, I feel, is very important to be totally and utterly independent, even though I sit with the Conservatives when I've been in chamber, and as my role as chairman, I have, and I hope that members who were here last year will back me up to say that I have been as fair, if not, and I think Councillor Sanderson would agree that I've probably been fairer to other people rather than Councillor Sanderson. But I am looking forward. It's going to be a different year, more challenging, but looking forward to it, and I hope all new councillors are looking forward to it the same. The chair has an office in the building on the first floor, and as I said last year, I'm in here most days. My door is always open for officers and members to come in. If you're unhappy or you need clarification on anything, please come and see me. I would like to meet you all, so my door is always open.
I wonder, Chair, if we could just deal with the formalities, Chair, if that's all right, giving you your chain of office.
Thank you for that. It is now my duty to ask the Chamber to elect a Deputy Chair. Could I have nominations, please? Councillor Wearmouth.
Councillor Carr.
Do we have any other nominations from the floor? We don't?
We don't. In which case, Councillor Carr is returned.
Councillor Carr, you are re-elected as Deputy Chair. My council. Councillor Carr, can you please come up and take your seat and receive your change of office? To assist myself and the Deputy Chair, I think we will both be having consorts. Mine will be Eileen Hudson and Caitlin Jones, I presume, will be... Yes. Thank you. Right, and now, members, we move on to the rest of the agenda. To remind you of the housekeeping matters mentioned at the start of the meeting. To stand, if able, when you're speaking and direct your speeches at the Chair. Please keep your speeches to 3 minutes and turn off all phones. Members, you will have seen an all-members bulletin sent by the Director of Law and Corporate Governance ahead of this meeting. There were some guides and I hope that has proved very useful for you. I would emphasise that members should indicate if they want to speak on an item by putting up their hand and direct the speeches to the Chair. Lastly, before we move on to further business on the agenda, new members may not be familiar with those officers sitting here with me. For their benefit, let me introduce them. On my right, I have Dr. Helen Patterson, the Chief Executive. Close left, Stephen Gerrard, Director of Law and Corporate Governance. Neil Mason, who is Head of Legal and Deputy Monitoring Officer. Next to Neil is Jan Willis, Executive Director of Transformation and Resources and Section 151 Officer. And at the end we have Karen Hatfield, Democratic Services Manager. And honestly, they're very approachable, and any help or advice you need, please come forward and talk to the officers. Item number 3 on the agenda, apologies for absence. I haven't received any. Karen,
We have received
are there any from the floor? Apologies for absence. No? Yes, that's an just sorry. Yeah.
Councillor Martin Jackson sends his apologies.
Thank you.
One bit that I was asked to remind you of, if you look at your microphone, it's the right-hand button to press, and also to stand when speaking. Thank you for that. Item 4 on the agenda, minutes of the meeting of the County Council held on the 26th of March 2025 at 2 p.m. as circulated, to be adopted as a true record. They're on pages 9 to 22. And also minutes of an extraordinary meeting of the County Council held on Wednesday the 26th of March 2025 at 4 p.m. as circulated, to be adopted as a true record. Members, even if you weren't here, you can vote on these as a true record. Can we confirm these minutes as a true record? Could I have a proposer and seconder? Councillor Wearmouth proposed it, Councillor Sanderson seconded. Are we all agreed? Thank you for that. Item 5 on the agenda, disclosures of members' interest. Does any member have any interest to declare that have not already been declared to the monitoring officer before this meeting? And I see no show of hands, that's excellent. Item 6 on the agenda, announcements by the Chair or the Head of Paid Services. I don't have any announcements to make. Item 7, we now move on the agenda where we appoint a member who will be leader of the council. Can we have nominations, please? Councillor Wearmouth.
Thank you, Chair. I propose Councillor Sanderson.
Do we have a second?
Councillor Swinhope.
Thank you, Chair. I would like to propose Councillor Mark Peart.
Can we have a seconder for Councillor Sanderson? Councillor Horncastle. And a seconder for Councillor Peart.
Councillor Rolls.
Are there any further nominations from the floor? I don't see any. Again, the same procedure. There's 2 nominations. We will go to a show of hands. Could I have a show of hands for Mr. Councillor Peart, please? If we can count those now.
Yep.
Thank you. And for Councillor Sanderson, a show of hands, please. Thank you for that, Councillor Peart. We had 22, and for Councillor Sanderson, 34. So Councillor Sanderson is elected as leader of the council. We're whizzing through this, but it will slow down, I assure you. We have a sweepstake on how long it'll take. The next item on the agenda is where we receive the names of Deputy Leader and members of the Cabinet and their portfolios from the Leader. I would like to ask the Leader, Councillor Sanderson, to present details of the Cabinet members. Councillor Sanderson.
Thank you very much, Chair. Can I just, before I do that, say I miss faces that aren't here, but it's very good to see new faces, which will bring new experience, new challenge, I'm sure, but actually will blend together, I'm sure, to make this council continue to be one of the best in the country. We have all shared one thing in common, which is to have our residents put a cross in our box that says we put our trust in you to represent us, and that makes us all now important members of a multi-million-pound organisation that is there to serve people in a whole range of ways and to care for a brilliant staff that work for us to do those services. So I do hope very much that we will get to know each other over the coming months and that we will work together over the coming months. Where we can find compromise, I'm sure we will. On the Cabinet, there will be myself as leader of the council, Richard Wearmouth, who will be the deputy leader, Nick Oliver, the finance and value for money portfolio, Guy Renner-Thompson on children and young people, Eve Chicken on adult services and health, Gordon Stewart on public safety, Wendy Patterson on culture, events, swimming pools, all that kind of thing, libraries, Mark Mather on roads and highways, John Riddle on environment and rural and farming, and housing and planning will go to our expert on that matter, Colin Horncastle.
Councillor Wearmouth, would you like to take your seat up on the dais, please? Yeah. Details of all those appointments will follow in writing to all members from the Director of Law and Corporate Governance, so you will receive that probably tomorrow.
Yeah.
Right. We now move on to item 9 on the agenda, which is report of the Chief Executive, establishment of committees and appoint chairs and vice chairs. We are required to establish committees and agree the appointment of the chairs and vice chairs. The report is set out in the papers. Would members please note the revised appendix which is now before members in the chamber on that paper. Sorry, that's that paper. Picked up the wrong one. Which have been circulated and they are in the chamber now. And also there's an agenda item on the salmon paper. Members will see the recommendations 3.2, 3.3 have been split in two. This is to enable separate votes on the appointments of chairs and vice chairs of the committees where alternative nominations have been placed. I would like, first of all, to take a vote on all recommendations except the appointment process for the chairs and vice chairs. To be clear, this is for recommendations except appointments for the chairs and vice chairs, which we'll go through individually. Could I have a proposer to take all recommendations apart from those two? Councillor Stewart. Seconder?
Councillor Patterson.
Councillor Patterson. Can we have a show of hands, please?
I think that's carried.
I think that's carried.
I think just show against.
Yeah, and can we have the against, please? Abstentions?
That's carried. That's carried.
It's just to simplify rather than go through each one as we go through the individual chairs and
So
vice
if we
chairs.
can take the appointments of the chairs for each committee individually and see whether there are alternative nominations.
Just look for my witness. Can I borrow yours?
But
Of course, yeah.
if I might, Chair,
Yes, carry on.
just to explain. This process is a little complicated and convoluted, but essentially from among those members who you have now agreed are nominated for the individual committees. So if there's a committee with 10 members, from among those 10 members that have been nominated, we have to elect a chairman and vice chairman for that committee for the forthcoming year. And that's essentially what we're doing now. We'll do it step by step. If there are alternative nominations, we will do the process as we did for the election of chair and leader. If there's only the one nomination, then that post will just go through. So if we could do each one individually, slowly, hopefully we'll get there without too much confusion. But I do apologise. It is a complicated and convoluted process.
Right, appointment of chairs. The first is appointment committee, school governors and academies. Nominations for chair for this.
Do we have a nomination for a chair? If there aren't, sorry for clarification, if there are no nominations, then in a sense the inaugural meeting of that committee will just appoint a chair at that meeting. So it's not essential you appoint today, but for some committees you may wish to, if that makes sense. So I take it that there are no nominations for that one, so the committee will decide themselves, sir.
Okay. Second one is audit committee. Nominations for chair.
No, just for the chair.
Vice chair, sorry.
We have an independent chair in this case,
Yes,
sir.
we do. For vice chair.
Microphone, please.
Microphone, please. Councillor Kennedy, stand.
Councillor Dale, I believe.
Councillor Andy, please.
Are there any other nominations?
Councillor Rose.
Can I nominate Patrick Lambert?
In which
Patrick
case,
Lambert.
we will have a show of hands on this
Yeah.
one then, sir.
Right, we have Councillor Dale and Councillor Lambert. Can we go to Councillor Dale first? All those in favour of Councillor Dale?
to take a show of those against.
Councillor Lambert, show of hands for Councillor Lambert, please. That is carried. Councillor Dale, 43 votes. Thank you for that. Committees, Communities and Places Overview and Scrutiny Committee. Councillor Sanderson.
Could I propose Councillor Bourne to be chair? Do you want to take the vice chair as well or not?
No, one at a time,
Okay,
please.
so Councillor Bourne, please.
Councillor Bourne, do we have any other nominations? Councillor Rolls.
Can I nominate Councillor Patrick Lambert?
Councillor Lambert. Could we have a seconder for Councillor Bourne, and we'll need a seconder for
Councillor Wearmouth.
Councillor Wearmouth, and a seconder for
Councillor Peart.
Councillor Peart. Right, can we have a show of hands for Councillor Bourne, please? Yeah.
And show,
And against? Sorry, Lambert.
By definition, Councillor Lambert.
Yes, Councillor Lambert. That is carried. Councillor Bourne. I told you it would slow down. Corporate Services in Economic Growth Overview and Scrutiny Committee. Sorry. You see, I'm new to this. Yes, so am I. Communities and Places Overview and Scrutiny Committee, a Vice Chair.
nomination.
Nominate Councillor Angie Scott, Chair.
Councillor Scott, Andy Scott. And
Councillor Nicholson.
Councillor Nicholson.
Can I nominate Councillor Sonia Sim, please?
Councillor Sim. Okay, could we have show of hands for Councillor Angie Scott, please?
That will be the same as before, sir.
Yeah.
And those against? Oh, sorry, those for Councillor Sim.
And those for Councillor Sim.
That is as
And
before.
that's carried for
Yes.
Councillor Angie Scott. Right, now we go into Corporate Service and Economic Growth Overview and Scrutiny Committee. Could we have nominations for chair, please? Councillor
Yes,
Sanderson.
Councillor Swinburne.
And do we have other nominations from the floor, please?
We appear not to.
No.
In which case,
Councillor Swinburne has been elected chair. And for vice chair, could we have nominations, please? Councillor Sanderson.
Councillor Dungate.
And for vice chair, do we have nominations from the floor? Councillor Peart.
Councillor Jackson.
we'll have a show of hands on that then, sir.
Could we have a show of hands for Councillor Dungate?
Chair, point of order. Councillor Dungate is listed here. It's Councillor Dunn. Yes.
The Conservative group will change that to Councillor Dungate.
Which member are you changing, sir?
Which member? Darwin to Dungate.
Okay.
Right. It is Councillor Dungate for Vice Chair, and the nomination was Councillor Jackson. Can we have a show of hands for Councillor Dungate?
That is as before.
And for, thank you, and for Councillor Jackson. Yeah, that is carried, Councillor Dungate. Next one on the list, County Emergency Committee.
Sorry,
Nominations
point
for...
of order or clarification, Chair. Can I just be clear, for this committee, it doesn't include Councillor Darwin, which is what we voted for when we voted on the recommendations. So Councillor Darwin isn't in this, it's Councillor Dungate. Yeah? Yeah. Thank you.
That is correct.
Yeah.
County Emergency Committee. Nominations for Chair.
Yes, Councillor Stewart.
The nominate Councillor Nicholson. I think.
And Councillor from the floor, Councillor Nicholson.
Hi. Can I just query this uncontested committees list? It's not correct. So that
We're not working off that
We're
now.
not going...
For the avoidance of doubt, we're going through each one individually, just to avoid any confusion or otherwise. So it'll take a bit longer, but we will be going through each one separately to make sure that we get it correct.
right. Okay.
It is.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just all the names are different to what's been
I
nominated.
do apologise to the chamber, but trying to collate names from across all the groups. We started off with good intention, but let's just say that I think the enormity of the operation failed us. So we'll do it this way. It will take a bit longer, but we will get there.
Thank you. Thank you.
If we could have had the uncontested ones, it would have been a lot easier. We could have done a block vote, but we'll just make sure everything is right. We're going to
It'll
go
be
through them
fine.
individually.
It'll be fine.
Yeah. Right, we have one nomination for Chair. Are there any nominations from the floor? We don't.
They don't.
Councillor Stewart. Right there. And nominations for Vice Chair.
The committee will decide on the day
committee will decide
if they need one.
That's right. Yep. Right, number 6, Dismissal Advisory Committee. Do we have nominations for Chair, please? Councillor Wearmouth.
Thank you, Chair. Proposed Councillor Sanderson.
And nominations for Chair from the floor, please. We have none. Councillor Sanderson, you are elected as Chair. And for Vice Chair.
Could I nominate Councillor Wearmouth, please?
Councillor Wearmouth, are there any nominations for Vice Chair from the floor? There are not. Councillor Wearmouth selected. Disputes Panel, Fire and Rescue Service. Nominations for Chair, please. Councillor Peart?
Councillor Elliott.
Any other nominations? Councillor Wearmouth.
Councillor Mather. Thank you.
So there's Councillor Elliott and Councillor Mather. Can we have a show of hands for Councillor Elliott for Chair, please?
Yes, the same.
And for Councillor Mather, can I have a show of hands, please?
Again, that is
Again,
Councillor Mather.
that looks like it's carried. Nominations for Vice Chair, please. Councillor Rose.
Can I nominate Councillor Barry Elliott?
Councillor Wearmouth.
Councillor Sanderson.
We have 2 nominations for Vice Chair, Councillor Elliott and Councillor Sanderson. Can we have a show of hands for Councillor Elliott, please? Thank you. And for Councillor Sanderson?
Again,
That is carried. Councillor Sanderson for vice. Employment Appeals Committee. Can we have nominations for chair?
Sorry.
Councillor Sanderson.
Could I propose Councillor Bourne, please?
You may.
Councillor Bourne, and nominations from the floor?
There are none. That's David.
Councillor Bourne. And for vice chair? There's no vice chair. Standing chair, yeah. Number 9. Family and Children's Services Overview and Scrutiny Committee.
Chair, apologies, can I just have some clarification here? Is it usual or proper for a member to chair 2 scrutiny committees? Because I thought they had to be separate. Councillor Bourne had already been nominated to a previous scrutiny committee chair. In that case, it's my first mistake and shall be the last.
It is not a, Councillor Dickinson, it's not a scrutiny committee.
Establish that we can move on,
You did that very well, Scott. Right, Family and Children's Services Overview and Scrutiny Committee.
I wonder if I could propose Councillor Daly, please.
Okay. And Councillor Peart.
Councillor Green.
Green. We have 2 nominations, Councillor Daly and Councillor Green. Can I go for Councillor Green first? Please, hands. Show of hands for Councillor Green. Thank you. And for Councillor Daly. Again, I think that's
That is Councillor Daly.
And for Vice Chair, could I have nominations for Vice Chair?
Yes, please. Could I nominate Councillor Michaela Horncastle?
Councillor Peart.
Councillor Green.
Yeah, same process.
We have 2 nominations for Vice Chair, Councillor Green and Councillor Horncastle. Can I have a show of hands for Councillor Green, please? And for Councillor Horncastle? Again, that is carried.
Carried for Councillor.
Number 10, Fostering Panel. How many do we need? Just Chair and Vice Chair? Can we have nominations for Chair, please, for Fostering Panel?
I think is that one that's left? That's left to the day, I think so.
Yeah. Agreed. The committee will decide who will chair those meetings. Councillor Sesford.
And the committee will decide who's going to be the chair on the day. It's an independent committee. There's an independent chair. This is just for the county council representative on that panel.
Indeed, sir. Yes.
Perfect.
Yes. Yep. Well explained.
Right. Where are we now? Number 12. Go on, 12.
Let's just leave it.
To do anything for number 11. Stephen, number 11.
Governing body of Netherton Park.
Yeah. Yeah. Committee, number 11, we have governing body of Netherton Park.
It's just a chair.
It's just a chair for this one. Yes. Do we have nominations?
Yes. Could I nominate Councillor Lyle Darwin, who is the local member?
Are there any other nominations?
Are there any other nominations? We don't have any from the floor. Councillor Darwin is elected chair. Number 12, Grievance Committee. Do we have nominations for chair?
Yes, Chair. Could I nominate Councillor Gordon Castle as the chair?
Do we have nominations from the floor? You don't?
That is Councillor
Castle. Elected. Number 13.
The
sorry,
vice chair as well,
I'm just trying to get through it. I want to win my sweepstake. Nominations for Vice Chair. Councillor Wearmouth.
Thank you. Propose Councillor Kennedy.
Councillor Kennedy is not one of the 5 members.
Yeah, but it was gifted.
Who has gifted it?
Sorry, that is one that I think that has been gifted. On this list, we do have Kennedy down, and no one better to be Vice Chair, I would say.
Councillor
Dickinson, have you gifted your seat on this committee? Yes.
To Councillor Kennedy.
This is the problem.
Right. We are going for nominations for Vice Chair for Grievance Committee. Nominations from the floor, please. Councillor Wearmouth.
Happily propose Councillor Dickinson, if that's the correct list.
Councillor Dickinson. Any other nominations from the floor, please? There are none. Councillor Dickinson, Vice Chair. Right, number 13, Health and Wellbeing Board. Chair and Vice Chairs required. Can I have nominations for Chair, please? Councillor Wearmouth.
Propose Councillor Evel Shelvin.
Any other nominations from the floor? There are none. Councillor Ever Sheldon, Chair. And can we have nominations for Vice Chair?
You don't need a Vice Chair.
You don't need a Vice Chair.
This is one of those old bodies.
Yeah. 14, Health and Wellbeing Overview and Scrutiny Committee. We need Chair and Vice Chair. Nominations for Chair, please.
Councillor
Can I propose, please, Councillor Hill?
Councillor Hill.
Yep.
Any other nominations from the floor? We don't. Councillor Hill as Chair. We need nominations for Vice Chair.
I think, may I propose Councillor Jones for this one, please?
You can propose anybody you like.
Okay.
Yes,
Father Chris.
Councillor Jones. Any other nominations from the floor?
It is Councillor Jones.
Councillor Jones. 15. We're halfway, not halfway, they're nearly. Joint Consultative Committee. 5 members.
We're just looking for a chair for this one, sir.
Yeah. Thank you for that. Just keep shouting out there.
I will.
We need nominations for Joint Consultative Committee. Nominations for Chair.
To your right.
Yeah, I could hear the cough. Councillor Wearmouth.
Thank you, Chair. Councillor Sanderson.
Nominations from the floor, please. Councillor Sanderson. 16, Licensing Committee. We need Chair and Vice Chair. Can we have nominations for Chair, please, for the licensing?
I wonder if I could nominate Councillor Trevor Sessford, please. Yeah.
And nominate Councillor Fiat.
Councillor Amery.
Amery.
Great.
Show of hands again.
We have 2 nominations, Councillor Sessford and Councillor Amery. Could we have a show of hands for Councillor Amery, please? 2. And for Councillor Sessford. I think that is carried again.
For Councillor
Nominations for Councillor Sessford. Could we have nominations for Vice Chair, please? Councillor Fiat.
Councillor Amery.
Councillor Bowman, Chair.
Okay, Councillor Bowman and Councillor Amery for Vice Chair. Could I go for show of hands for Councillor Bowman first, please?
3. That's correct. And
And for Councillor Amery, please. Councillor Bowman, Vice Chair. Number 17, Licensing Regulatory Committee.
Same membership and vice chair as licensing committee.
All right, yeah, skip that one because it's the same committee and same chair and vice chair. What are we on next? Petitions.
no, they don't. No. We'll worry about that later.
I'm going where he's going. Are you going Max now?
Can do.
Yeah.
I think the separate committee, I think
Right, next we go to local area committees. As you know, at the moment there are 5 committees. We will start with Northumberland. Could I have a proposer for chair, please? Yes, Councillor Rolls.
Can I propose Patrick Lambert, councillor?
Councillor Rana Thompson.
Propose Councillor Gordon Castle.
Right, we have 2 nominations, Councillor Lambert and Councillor Castle. Can I have a show of hands for Councillor Lambert, please? Same as.
22, Chair.
And for Councillor Castle.
That's good.
That
for
is
Councillor
carried.
Castle.
Are we doing vice chairs as well? There are 3 on there because we have chair, vice chair and vice chair of planning. So for vice chair for Northumberland, could I have nominations from the floor for vice chair, please? What's up yet?
Councillor Brooke.
Brooke.
Yes.
Thank you. Any other nominations, please? No nominations? Councillor Brooke.
That's good for Councillor Brooke.
Is Vice Chair of Northumberland LAC. We need a Vice Chair of Planning. Nominations from the floor, please.
Councillor Pearce.
Councillor Pearce.
Councillor Lambert.
Any other nominations?
Any other nominations? Councillor Lambert, Vice Chair for Planning. Excellent. The next LAC we go to is Tyndale. Same procedure. We need a Chair, Vice Chair and Vice Chair of Planning.
Councillor Dale.
Councillor Dale.
Thank you. I have pleasure in proposing Councillor Kennedy as Chairman of the Tyndale Area Committee.
Any other nominations for Tyndale Chair? Councillor Kennedy, you are Chair. Could we have nominations for Vice Chair for Tyndale? Yes, Councillor Hunter.
Gives me pleasure to propose Councillor Suzanne Fairless-Aitken, please.
Nominations from the floor, please. No. Fairless-Aitken, Vice Chair. And Vice Chair for Planning for Tyndale. Nominations, please.
I'd like to propose Suzanne Councillor Fairless-Aitken, please, as well.
No?
Can't do both as far as I understand it.
Yeah,
that's fine.
Sorry about that. It is a separate function, so yeah. Any other nominations for Vice Chair Planning for Tyndale? There aren't any. Fairless-Aitken is Vice Chair for Planning. We go on to Castle Morpeth Local Area Council, again, we need 3 nominations, one for Chair, Vice Chair and Vice Chair of Planning. Nominations for Chair, please. Councillor Ross.
Can I nominate Councillor David Fitzgerald?
Fitzgerald. Any other nominations?
Yes.
Councillor Sanderson.
Could I nominate Richard Dodd, please? Councillor Richard Dodd.
Great, we have 2 nominations for Chair, Councillor Fitzgerald and Councillor Dodd. Can we have a show of hands for Councillor Fitzgerald, please?
22.
22. Are you sure, Scott? And for Councillor Dodd? And I think that
Okay,
is
that's
that is
good for
carried.
Councillor Dodd.
Yeah. For Castle Morpeth Local Area Council, nominations for Vice Chair, please.
Nomination for Councillor Oakley, Chair.
And nominations from the floor. Councillor Pierre.
Councillor Fitzgerald.
We have 2 nominations for Vice Chair, Councillor Oakley and Councillor Fitzgerald. Can we have a show of hands for Councillor Oakley, please? I don't need it.
Yeah. For Councillor Fitzgerald. Yeah, that's fine.
And for Councillor Fitzgerald, please.
That's good for Councillor Oakley.
Yeah. Councillor Oakley. Vice Chair Planning for Castle Morpeth Local Area Council. Could we have nominations? Councillor Dickinson.
Nomination for Councillor Oakley, Chair.
Other nominations from the floor? Councillor Nicholson.
Can I put forward Councillor Fitzgerald, please?
Yeah. For Vice Chair for Planning, we have Councillor Oakley and Councillor Fitzgerald. Can I have a show of hands for Councillor Oakley, please? Yeah. And for Councillor Fitzgerald.
That's good for Oakley.
That's Councillor Oakley, Vice Chair for Planning. Cromlington, Bedlington and Seaton Valley, again we need, local area council, we need 3 nominations, 1 Chair, Vice Chair and Vice Chair for Planning. Could we have nominations for Chair, please? Councillor Kennedy.
Thank you. Councillor Scott Lee, please.
Councillor Lee.
Yeah.
Any nominations from the floor? Councillor Lee, you're appointed Chair for Cromlington, Bedlington and Seaton Valley. Can we have nominations for Vice Chair, please? Councillor Kennedy.
Councillor Christine Taylor.
Sorry,
sorry, Councillor Christine Taylor.
Taylor, yeah.
And nominations from the floor, please. Councillor Taylor, Vice Chair. And Vice Chair Planning, can we have nominations from the floor, please? Councillor Pierre.
Councillor Austin.
Austin. And nominations from the floor. Councillor Kennedy.
Councillor Christine Taylor.
Show of hands.
Show of hands, please, for Councillor Austin first, please. And for Councillor Taylor.
That's good.
Again, that is carried.
Good for Taylor.
Councillor Taylor. Yeah. Have we done planning?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, that was the planning one.
Right. Ashington Blythe, same principle, Chair, Vice Chair and Vice Chair for Planning. Nominations for Chair, please. Right. Councillor Dickinson.
In the absence of a nomination, Chair, I nominate Councillor Ball.
Okay.
Are there any other nominations? Councillor Ball as chair for Ashington Blythe. Could we have nominations for vice chair for Ashington and Blythe, please?
Councillor Nicholson.
Chair, I'd like to nominate Daniel Carr.
Right, we have two nominations, Councillor Nicholson and Councillor Carr. Can we have show of hands for Councillor Nicholson, please? Yeah, 22.
17.
And for Councillor Carr, please, can we have a show of hands?
That is good for Councillor Carr. And Vice Chair Planning.
That is carried, Councillor Carr. Can we have nominations from the floor, please, for Ashington Blythe, Vice Chair for Planning? Councillor Peard?
Councillor Audsley.
Audsley.
And Chair, Councillor Daniel Carr.
Audsley.
Right. We have two nominations for Vice Chair Planning, Councillor Audsley and Councillor Carr. Can we have show of hands for Councillor Audsley first, please?
22.
22.
Yeah.
And for Councillor Carr. That seems to be carried, Councillor Carr. Yeah. Okay, number 19, Petitions Committee. We need nominations for Chair and Vice Chair. Could we have nomination? Councillor Wearmouth.
Propose Councillor Dodd.
And can we have nominations from the floor, please? None. Councillor Dodd, Chair. And could we have nominations from the floor, please, for Vice Chair of Petitions Committee? We'll do that on the day. Thank you. Number 20, Right of Way Committee. We need a Chair and Vice Chair. Can we have nominations for Chair, please?
Councillor Hill.
Councillor, where is it? Hunter, sorry.
And Councillor Hill.
Councillor Hunter.
Thank you, Chair. I'd like to propose Councillor Alan Sharp.
Councillor Peard.
Councillor Swinhoe.
Right. Show of hands.
Right, we have two nominations, Councillor Sharp and Councillor Swinhoe. Could I have a show of hands for Councillor Sharp, please? And a show of hands for Councillor Swinhoe, please.
That'll be good for Sharp.
Councillor Sharp. Right of Way Committee for Vice Chair. Could I have nominations, please?
If I,
Sanderson?
could I nominate Councillor Swinbank, please?
He's not on the list.
He's on our list. It's a gifted one.
Apparently this is another gifted one.
Gifted by whom to whom?
Yes.
Okay.
Councillor Daly.
So we're taking Wayne Daly
Councillor
off.
Daly is coming off there, and your nomination again, Councillor Sanson?
Councillor Swinbank.
Swinbank, but from Greens, yes. Yeah, that makes sense. That's
As
fine.
the nominations from the floor, Councillor Peard.
Councillor Swinhoe.
Yeah. Right, we have two nominations for Vice Chair, Councillor Swinbank and Councillor Swinhoe. Show of hands for Councillor Swinbank, please. Got that?
Yes, we have that.
And for Councillor Swinhoe, please.
That's good for Swinbank.
Councillor Swinbank. 21, we're getting there slowly but surely.
Mr Chairman, sorry, I do apologise. Just clarification very quickly. So I'm just a bit concerned that on multiple occasions now we are approving people who are not on the original list that we've approved here today. And for good governance purposes, I suggest that we should probably re-vote on, because we've voted on a list, Stephen, that doesn't exist. And I'm just conscious that you're muffling different names on and off up there, which we can't hear. So effectively, it's an amendment to the committee, because I don't want anybody coming back at a later date and saying it wasn't done properly.
Thank you for that, Councillor Dickinson. I will pass over for legal advice.
I think it's fine. The bottom line is that under the rules of proportionality, it is for the groups to tell the council to whom they're appointing to these committees. I don't think there's any problem, and at any point throughout the year, groups can and do change their appointments to the committees and just alert me to that fact, and I give effect to it. So I will just take it that I have been alerted to a change and given effect to that matter. It's a sound and good point, but I think for these purposes, we're in safe territory, Councillor.
Thank you for that. Thank you for that as well, Councillor Dickinson. And I'll try not to be muffled. I'll try and speak a little bit. Number 21, Schools Forum. And I'm just seeing...
That's probably one of the ones to deal with afterwards. It's not a proper committee.
Yeah.
It's an independent chair, etc.
Yes, so we'll move on from that because it is an independent chair and it's in an observatory capacity.
Yeah, indeed.
Number 22, Staff and Appointments Committee. We need a chair and vice chair. Could I have nominations from the floor? Councillor Wearmouth for chair.
Propose Councillor Sanderson.
That's not good enough to do. Nominations from the floor.
That is Councillor Sanderson.
Councillor Sanderson. And can we have nominations for vice chair, please?
Could I nominate Councillor Wearmouth, please?
Any other nominations? Councillor Sanderson as chair and Councillor Wearmouth as vice chair. 23. We need standards committee. We just need a vice chair for this one, please. Nominations for standard committee for vice chair.
They could do it on the day if necessary.
Yeah. Done on the day.
We'll do that on the day. That's fine.
Uh, 24, Standing Advisory Council for Religious Education. We need a chair for this one only. Could I have nominations from the floor for chair?
Yes, could I nominate Councillor Thorne on this one?
Can we have nominations from the floor? No, Councillor Thorne. We don't need a vice chair for that one. Strategic Planning Committee. We need a chair and vice chair, please. Nominations for chair.
Could I nominate Councillor Thorne, please?
And from the floor, have we any nominations? Councillor Thorne. And for vice chairs, could we have nominations, please?
Yes.
Yes,
Could I nominate Councillor Malcolm Robinson, please?
Any other nominations from the floor? That's Councillor Thorne, Chair, and Vice Chair Councillor Robinson. That's 30 odd we go, right?
We're getting there, we're doing well.
Right, going to working groups. Councillor Sesford.
Thank you, Chair. Can I just take us back to number 10 for the fostering panel, because although we decided that it's an independent group, there's actually two councillors' names down there and we haven't said, and I can remember, which councillor has been put forward to the panel. It's got myself and Councillor Spridell, or Spridle, however you pronounce it.
brought this up a bit sooner, Councillor Sesbeth.
Can we deal with this outside the
The way
meeting?
you
Yeah.
were done.
Can we deal with this outside the meeting?
Out, anything you want.
Right, where was I? Right, Climate Change Working Group. We need a chair and vice chair. Could we have nominations for chair, please?
Could I nominate Councillor Wormouth, please?
Right, nominations from the floor, please. There are none. Councillor Wearmouth. Nominations for vice chair, please.
Could I nominate Councillor Swinbank?
Any other nominations from the floor, please?
None.
Chair, Councillor Wearmouth, Vice Chair, Swinbank. Constitution Working Group. I need a chair and vice chair. Can we have nominations for chair, please?
Yes. I wonder if I could nominate you for this, do you think, Chairman?
You can nominate whoever you like, Councillor Sands.
Okay, I'll start again.
I've got Councillor Bain. Any other nominations from the floor? Thank you, Councillor Sanderson. Councillor Bain. For vice chair, can we have nominations,
Yes,
please?
if I may. Could I nominate Councillor Sharp, please, as vice chair?
Any other nominations? That's Councillor Bain and Councillor Sharp as vice chair. Inadequacies, easy for me to say inequalities, it's easy for me to say working group. We need a chair and vice chair. Can we have nominations for chair?
Can I nominate Councillor Smith, please? Alan Smith, from Cramlington.
Any other nominations from the floor? Councillor Smith. And for vice chair, please.
Could I nominate Councillor Fairless Aitken, please? Had she been on the list, it would have been okay. But actually, it's Antonia, with an unpronounceable second name, I'm afraid. Antonia.
She's not on here.
She's not on? Councillor Kennedy.
Just to add an additional name for the independent group, which is not featured on here, the name should be Anne Dale. We have one position.
We will note that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
They hadn't nominated.
Can we have a nomination, please, or we will let the committee decide?
Let the committee decide.
Thank you for
That's
that.
fine. We will do so.
All right. Local area councils, chairs, briefing, membership in terms of reference, chairs and vice chairs, yeah. What are we on to next?
Local plan working group.
Local plan working group. We need chair and vice chair. Can we have nominations for chair? But we haven't got anybody in there.
Yeah.
Proposed.
Yes, I wonder if I could propose Councillor Darwin, please.
No other nominations, Councillor Darwin. Can we have nominations for vice chair, please? Councillor Taylor.
I would like to propose Councillor Malcolm Robinson.
Councillor Michael Robinson. Any other nominations? No. Councillor Darwin and Councillor Robinson as vice chair. All right. Membership in terms of reference.
Sorry, it's the
sorry.
Member Services Working Group.
Yeah.
So I think you got split across the page.
Oh, did I? Sorry about that. Member Service Working Group. We need a chair and vice chair. Nominations for chair.
Can I propose Councillor Sharp, please?
Nominations from the floor. Councillor Sharp is chair, and can we have nominations for vice chair, please? There, yes, Councillor Wearmouth.
Propose Councillor Dodd.
Councillor Dodd. Any other nominations? Councillor Sharp and Councillor Dodd. Northumberland Cycling, Walking and Wheeling Board membership to reference chair and vice chair. Nominations for chair, please.
Yes, I wonder.
Yes, Councillor Sanderson.
Could I propose Councillor Wearmouth, please?
Any other nominations on Councillor Wearmouth, vice chair? Any?
Could I propose Councillor Martin Swinbank, please?
Councillor Swinbank. Any other nominations? Councillor Wearmouth and Swinbank. Right, risk appraisal panel.
That's fine.
Yeah, that's okay. That's number 9. Yeah. Number 9, corporate parenting group. We need a chair and vice chair. Nominations for chair, please.
Councillor Caroline Ball, chair.
Thanks, Councillor Dickinson. Any other nominations? Councillor Ball, your chair, and nominations for vice chair? None?
We leave that for the
Leave
committee.
that for the committee. Number 10. Town and Parish Council Liaison Working Group. We need a chair and vice chair. Could we have nominations for chair, please?
Councillor Fairless-Aiken.
Councillor Fairless-Aiken.
Could I nominate Councillor Isabel Hunter, please?
You can. Any other nominations?
Appears.
Councillor Hunter. And for vice chair, nominations? Councillor Wearmouth.
Councillor Smith, Councillor Alan Smith, that is.
Any other nominations from the floor? Right. Councillor Hunter and Councillor Smith. Number 11, VCS Liaison Group. We need a chair and vice chair.
Yes.
Nominations for chair?
Yes. Could I propose Councillor Edward Shelburne, please?
Any other nominations?
No.
And for vice chair? Councillor Dickinson.
Chair, I propose Councillor O'Donnell, although he's not on this list, it should say O'Donnell rather than Bowman.
Noted.
Noted, thank you. Oh, there's lots the matter with the list.
No other nominations, so chair Councillor Eva Sheldon and vice chair O'Donnell.
Excellent.
I need a beer. I should. Right, ladies and gentlemen, we're getting there. The next item on today's agenda is agenda item number 10, the report of the Chief Executive, timetable of meetings. Members, we are required to adopt the diary of the meetings of the Council and its committees for the municipal year 2025 to 2026. I commend the recommendations to the Chamber. Everybody happy with that? Could we have a proposer, please? Councillor Wearmouth and a seconder. Councillor Swinburne. All those for?
That's carried.
it's just a timetable here. That's carried. Thank you. The next item for us to agree is item 11 on the agenda, a report on the Chief Executive appointment to outside bodies. And I think I've just thrown my paper over here.
No, you use that one, sir.
Council is asked to agree its nominations as set out in the report. Members will see we have a proposal before us for those appointments, so we will move on to vote on them. Okay. Councillor Sanderson.
Okay, thank you. There are a couple of minor changes, if I might be allowed to suggest those.
Of course, sir.
With everybody being happy with that. So on the FPS Local Liaison Board, there need to be 2 members of this particular scrutiny committee. So I would like that to be 2 of our members from that scrutiny committee. One would be, one of ours, which would be Councillor Swinburne, and the other would be Councillor Robinson.
Instead of Dodd. Instead of Dodd.
Instead of because
Dodd,
Dodd
yeah.
isn't on that committee.
Yeah, great. It's tidying up. That
So
makes
we just
sense.
made sure.
Thank you, Leader. Yes, that is so noted.
Yeah. Anything else?
So we're going to go through them individually?
No.
No, I think
No,
that's
just
fine.
not.
Inshore, do you want to do the inshore fisheries job?
Well, I would say, if there are changes to this, then I have delegated authority to make such amendments as are appropriate after the meeting. So
Okay.
I think we're almost there. So if we could agree this, it would be helpful. And then if there are changes, I'm happy for a discussion following the meeting.
So just to be clear then, will you contact the group leaders after this meeting and just confirm that we can offer any potential changes? I don't think there are many, if any more from us, but and then we can give those to you and you can put it in the mixing machine.
Or do they need to be agreed by full council?
Or does it have to be done by full council?
There are some of these bodies here, the body appointing requires a certain complexion of appointments. So it'll say, I want one from this group, one from that group. Those that are otherwise, it is open for the council to make a decision. If there are more nominees than there are places, if that makes sense.
If I may, Chair.
But at the moment we only have these nominees, and the number of nominees balances the number of places.
So am I therefore correct in thinking, if I may, that the names on this list for the National Park Authority, which is a hugely important role, are Councillor Antonia Nevin. It's very difficult for me.
Asoka Nevin.
That's it. And also Mark Mather, John Riddle and Alan Sharp. And there will be 2 reform, I think, potentially, or from some other party.
Yes, I believe you are correct, sir. And there are some groups that have yet to put their nominations forward, which is fine.
Yeah.
And they can do, and that's the point. They can do so after the meeting. And in those cases where there are vacancies to be filled, I will be writing around and asking the groups to make those nominations.
That's fine. Perfect.
Right. You've heard what legal advice says there. So if we can take these all on block, please. Is that agreeable?
Agreed.
Thank you. Right. We now move on to item 12 of the agenda, which is report of the Director of Law and Corporate Governance on establishment of a cross-party governance working party. This group is to look at the possible refinement to committee structures of the Council and other constitutional matters. Remember, the report is self-explanatory. I can clarify that, in fact, it will be the Constitutional Working Group which will carry out the business described in this report. Do any members wish to speak on this? No. Do we have a proposer, please? Councillor Sanderson. And a seconder, please. Councillor Dickinson.
Oh, Councillor Dickinson.
And can we have a vote, please? All those for?
Can I,
Oh, sorry,
you vote?
Councillor Dickinson.
Well, it's just because in the recommendation 3.2 it says the council must decide the composition of the group, so we must decide that here before we vote.
For the avoidance, I'm sorry for the confusion. That's been done in a sense because you've now agreed the Constitutional Working Group as part of the working group arrangements. You've just done that. So we got a bit out of kilter, but in a sense you have agreed the constitution of the working group.
With respect, Stephen, it does say that we will set up a cross-party working group to consider these arrangements, and in the leaders' group meeting we discussed how that would operate, and it wasn't the Constitution Working Group because it's out of scope for that because of the complexities of the committee structure.
Right, we'll go to the leader.
Thank you very much.
Well,
Yes, well, can I just suggest that this is something that previous council were keen to look at, a number of issues, and it was very important that it would be cross-party, and I guess, monitoring officer, I guess, done on a proportionate basis. And if you wanted names from me now, I would say my names would be, if there are two for the Conservatives, it would be Councillor Wearmouth and Councillor Renner-Thompson, if you wanted to do that now. But I'm really pleased and happy that we should get on with this because we do need to report back on this as quickly as possible. I know you are with me on this, Mr Gerard, that we get this back to us by the 2nd of July, Council, so that everybody's got to work really hard on it.
Right, so to make this clear, we have two nominations from the Conservatives. Are we expecting nominations from the other groups to follow?
If I might say, I take it from, I was trying to simplify things and obviously have done quite the opposite, and I apologise for that. If the mood of the meeting is that we establish a task and finish group to deal with this, we can establish that, and we can, if it's to be proportional, I believe, off the top of my head, given the current complexion of the council, we're looking at 10 members. I think it's 3, 3, 1, 1, 1 and 1.
Correct.
And in that case, what I would suggest is we agree the principle, and I will write around on the rising of this meeting and ask for the groups to give their nominations for that group, on the understanding that whoever is on that group is going to have to give a bit of time to it, because it's going to have to meet a number of times within quite a short period of time, but it will be well supported, I can assure you.
First of all, I'm going to ask the group leaders, are you happy with that recommendation, Councillor Dickinson? Yeah. Great. Do we need Isabel? Happy with that?
Yes, I'm quite happy to move forward on that.
Do we need to take a vote? I think the whole room...
Yes, if show of hands be helpful,
yeah,
sir.
Show of hands, please, on that one. I think that should be fairly...
That's unit. Yes, that's carried.
That's carried. Thank you. Right, we now move on to item 13 on the agenda, which is a report of the Independent Remuneration Panel. Members, in light of your decision on the previous item, it follows that consideration of the panel's report should follow the work of the review group that has been set up in case they recommend any changes to committees, and meanwhile allowances are kept at the same rate as last year.
I think the leader wishes to speak, sir.
Councillor Sanderson.
I would just like to simply say that this will make everything much clearer. We hopefully will be able to save on SRAs and make that saving as we need to because the financial situation for all councils is difficult. It will also allow better community engagement by looking at the local area committees, by looking at the town and parish council liaison committee and how that gets out of County Hall and goes around the county, how I will be pleased to do public meetings as well. So it's a very important piece of work, must be done by the 2nd of July, please. And if I could suggest we agree to ask the remuneration panel to report back by, say, October, would that be okay? No, it wouldn't. It's the wrong thing. What should I have said? Sorry.
No, the only problem, it's not in my gift. We can ask them, and we will ask them to do so. We've had problems convening the panel before. It's getting them together that's the issue, sir.
Councillor Dale has a question.
Yeah. I'll come to 2 seconds, Councillor Dale. This is open to any councillor who wants to speak. Councillor Dale.
Yeah, I'm sorry, thank you very much. Can I just remind everybody, those people won't have seen the remuneration panel report, which past members will have seen. and it's very closely linked with the Constitution. And I think probably maybe they should be seen together rather than separately. I don't know, because it is about setting up SRAs and groups and working groups, and you'd have to alter the Constitution in some way to mirror what is in that remuneration panel, if you so wish to do so.
I'd like to speak so Councillor Dixon.
Yeah, Councillor Wearmouth and Councillor Dickinson.
Thank you. I may be corrected, Councillor Dale, but I think it's the other way around. You have to work out what the structure is, and then the remuneration panel will work out what people are paid according to the roles that you've created when we come back and vote on that in July. But so hopefully that helps.
Can I bring in Councillor Dickinson first, please? Councillor Dickinson.
Thank you, Chairman. I think Councillor Wearmouth just kind of summed up what I was going to say, which was that it is utterly pointless to proceed with something that we're just going to review and change. Now, it has to be an independent remuneration report that reflects the structure of the council. That cannot happen until after the review.
Councillor Dale, did you still want to come back? Right, thank you for that. Do we have a proposer, please?
Proposed.
Sam Sanderson and Wearmouth. Can we have a show of hands for that, please?
That's helpful, thank you.
That's fairly unanimous, but it's carried. Thank you. I'll go through the procedure. Against and abstentions.
That's fine, isn't it?
Yep, carried. All right. The final item on today's agenda is for the members to note the returning officer's submission on the return of the persons elected as councillors on the 1st of May 2025. I would refer members to the list on page 77 of your agenda papers. That is just to note. Members, we have no other items to consider. Before we go, it will take me a little while to get to know the new members' names. I have Stephen here with the pictures and your name cards. But please let me repeat, especially to group leaders, I would love to see you in the office. Come and have a chat, and anything you're not happy with or any suggestions, please come along and see me. I'm here most days, and it'd be lovely to see all the new members. For those who are staying for official photographs, please head towards the conference room area to meet with a photographer. That's as well for your individual councillors. Thank you all for your time. The meeting is done. Thank you.